The next episode, we'll be looking at personas, and we just want to, before we use personas for our projects, we just want to take a deep dive into what personas are all about and how to use them. So, personas are a representation of a digital product's users. They're short, vivid description of a fictional character that represent a group of product users. They bring about users to life in an easily understood manner, memorable, digestible, and shareable format. So basically, performers are what we use to, sum up a set of users, a sort of target audience. And when can we use this persona as early as possible? They can be there from the inception to design to development, even to maintenance, optimization. At every stage, you would need to know your personas. Now, they represent the goals and behaviors of your actual target audience. So in the research phase, they will be very useful to you when you're finding out, okay, what do we need for this group of people? How do we understand them? So it's one way you have to use personas to understand your people, like your target audience, knowing their pain. It's not enough to just sit down and say, oh, I think I know what they need. You can't tell what they need. People have different backgrounds, people have different lifestyles, but when you personas help us to map these different backgrounds and lifestyle to a particular problem, then we're able to relate with them. That's why they are so good. We begin to understand them more when we relate their personas. You know, like for instance, me using the First Bank app, I won't say that I've had much or many issues concerning the app, but it's not my main app, so I won't understand. I have series of alternatives, and I'm not one that do transaction nearly all the time, so I'm not like the go-to person to understand the pains and challenges from that app. But there are several other people that, I mean, you can see them from the comments we saw on the app review that, okay, people really have issues that need to be taken care of. Now, what personas also help the team is to focus solely on them. Like, it helps them evaluate the solutions. For example, we've gotten some things that are very necessary for like the transaction history, payments, all those receipts and all that. So now it's good to use personas to characterize these issues and work with them. Now, there are some cases where personas would work, and one of the cases is when you make up personas. And a couple of case studies, you just make up random people without real data. You just assume. So you assume this is an issue someone is following. That's why we had to check the apps and say, okay, people are going through this, so we can relate them to personas. But a lot of people just assume, oh, the person is going through this, the person is going through that. You don't need that. Then another issue is when a different team is the one building these personas. For example, say you're in a company now and you're building something for SMEs, small business owners and what about, and the stakeholders are the ones telling you what to build for. The stakeholders could be like the MDs and CEOs and whatnot. You have like you'll be a little bit misguided, and these are some of the challenges you face as a product designers. As product designers, is that you can be easily misguided by a certain stakeholder or CEO or senior manager when they insist this is what you want. I'll give you a case in point. There was a time when we were building, we're supposed to build an app before in the past, and the stakeholders reached out to us and said, oh, we need the web platform. When we looked at the app being that it's for payments, it's the modern day world, everything is mobile. So I said, are you sure you need the web platform? I said, yes, almost all our clients are using the web. So I don't know, to me it sounded as if he said, oh, all our clients don't have mobile phones, and that's weird because mostly people have more phones than this thing. So when we reached out to customer care to get out some in-depth issue, a lot of them said the major complaint is, why don't we have a mobile app for this product? So you can see the target audience want a mobile app. Senior management prefers a web app. So you need to know how to manage it. And then even though we had to build the web, we had to make it very responsive and intuitive to mobile so that we could meet. So those are some of the things, challenges you can have as a product designer, because even though you know this is the right thing to do, people paying your salary have insisted this is what you should do. So you have to find how you can meet at the middle, or sometimes you can follow them and have a discussion and say, okay, this is what we found. Some cases, some stakeholders will be like, okay, yeah, we can go with that. But some stakeholders are pretty stubborn, feeling that you're trying to undermine them, or I don't know, things happen when you start working. Now, how to create personas is what we'll try and understand. You need to understand the product users with research and statistics, which we've done previously in an app review where we've reviewed and got a series of comments. You need to examine your data for themes and patterns. Transaction history and statement was a pattern that we found. Distill the patterns into individual characters that embody your findings. Bring the characters to life with biographical information and imagery. So this is where we are about to run right now, because we've had some data to back what we want to study the pattern to work with, and now we can now infuse our personas this way. So we've already used the form of analytics or user data, because we got that from somewhere. And customer survey, it's at this point it's not the strongest, because if they have sent me a survey, I mean, I would say there's nothing wrong with that app. But sometimes you just need to look into data, especially if you want to get and see, not study an actual issue or problem. Now, these are some of the key metrics. Some personas can have fewer metrics than this. Some can have more, but in my research, I found out that there's nothing you want to place in your personas that is more than this. So feel free to add yours, and remove you in case you feel it's too much as well. All right. So now, working with personas in the design stage, we use them to map out journey. I mean, we use them to know the features that is most important to them, just like we figured out transaction history, which calls to action will be most appealing, which content is required for them. For strategy, they're used to prioritize like backlogs or potential new features, help them complete tasks, help them represent them more strategically to the business. So if you have personas, it could prevent the idea of a stakeholder trying to tell you what to build for. Although most times some stakeholders are difficult to work with, but this gives you a certain level of control to work with, right? Now it works on your on your content creation, whereby you have certain informations you want to give to them, and it helps them, the certain languages you want to use, so if you're building something for people in that are much more advanced, you have this kind of language use them. Just for people that are just normal, I know this is not the right word to describe people, but I think you get my drift and all that. So, evaluation, the language they speak, the process. There are sometimes you're building a product whereby you want the process to be as simple as possible. You want it to be just be forms and buttons, filling the form, submit, filling the form. Whereby you want somewhere you can build some intuitive experience. So this is another thing you need to understand, that you don't just build or design things, because I see a lot of designers want to do glass morphism and all these things and feel that slick design is what users will understand. But that's not it, because a lot of users don't see this design issue. You see, keep in mind that as a designer, no matter um how young you are in the design stage, you've trained your eye to observe certain things. So you are way above the average user, which is why we need personas to step it down a notch, come down to, bring it down, come down to the normal people and see things. Because if you're seeing things always as a designer, you'll be seeing flaws that even your users haven't spotted. but things that your users that will need, you would not see them. So those are kind of like the things you need to watch out for. So in our next episode, we'll be creating personas based on our project. I'll see you guys, and please like, share, and subscribe.